fact, Outdoors with Trav got started with birdhouses at our family auction. And when I told the group the 4 things that every birdhouse should have, my brother later said to me that it went from just being a simple birdhouse to almost having personality. The beauty of building a birdhouse is it's completely up to you and your imagination. You might be following some specific plans, and if so, that's great. But in this case, I'm just going to build this birdhouse however I want. And what I've decided would look pretty cool is if this is the front of the birdhouse, to have the roof just kind of be on a slant with the entrance hole here. This fence slat was mentioned to me by the people that had this in their backyard and said, hey, there's a pile of fencing material down our street behind our house in the alley. And I went over there and sure enough there was a whole pile of these nice red boards. Could have picked this side, but I think this will just give it a real nice rustic look. Maybe not quite as rugged, but I think it'll last a long time. So I've decided to go 8.5 inches tall on one side of the birdhouse and then 10 inches on the other, with that 1.5 inch difference. And I can go over and cut that on my chop saw. What I wanted to show you is if you had unpainted wood, this is the same angle, right? We could just flip it around and everything would be great. And maybe we'll do that. It's just that with this one, you're gonna have the more rustic side. So really with these lined up, I could still make that the front of the birdhouse and that the back, or vice versa. I'll just line these up, grab a pencil here, put a mark right there. I'm gonna zero this thing back out. Cut that off right on that line there. That's a good sharp blade on there. So this side of the birdhouse is 8.5 inches. This side is 10. I'm going to come down 1/2 inch each side. So we're going to cut a board 8 inches. We're going to cut a board 9.5 inches for the sides of the birdhouse. With the board on the top, if you get down there and see, there's a gap. That's intentional. The hole right through there, in addition to the hole on the front, and a little bit of opening on the bottom, is going to allow some ventilation to pass through the birdhouse so it doesn't turn into an oven in there. Okay, this is the front of the birdhouse. This side over here, we're just going to put some nails. I'm going to sink 3 nails into either side to hold that together. And then over here, we're going to put a nail, just 1 nail on each side. This will be our hinge, our door. That's the second thing every good birdhouse needs, is a clean out. Now, as far as height goes, I'm going to use the hole saw bit that I'm going to use is 1.5 inches. So one trick I like to do is lay a coin on there. Gives you an idea of the birdhouse hole where to place it. So I think that's going to look pretty good. We don't want the hole so far down that there's no room for the bird to be able to build its nest. But if the hole's up high like this, it's going to have plenty of column space to build a nest. And then, of course, the last and fourth and final step is going to be the overhang for predator avoidance. And if the hole's up close to that, it makes it a little bit tougher for something to get down in there. Ah, nice and sharp. Look at that beautiful entrance hole, 1.5 inch diameter. I was thinking that a western bluebird needed 1 inch and 9/16, but I looked it up, it's 1 3/8 inches. But you know what? 1.5 inches is right between those two, so I say we're good to go. So I just cut a piece of wood for the bottom of the birdhouse, and I intentionally removed each of the corners, again, to create ventilation. And I can't even remember where I got this one. Oh, this looks like probably pine or Douglas fir. Anyways, it's painted blue. I like the look on it. I mean, I guess we could put the whole thing on there, but it might look a little silly. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut this off. Gonna keep it kind of trim. Let's throw a tape on there and see how we like that. I like that overhang there of about 1 inch or so, maybe a little less, 3/4. Come over there, looks about the same. And I think what we'll do is cut that off. Oh, right at about, we're gonna go 6.5 inches on that. I like that rugged end as opposed to the freshly cut end. So you have your choice. You go this way or this way. It's got a little more blue paint on that side, so I think we're gonna do it like that. We could just flush it, but I like it centered, and I'm gonna bring it out so that if this goes up against a fence or a barn, it's not overhanging. It'll set flush. I'm gonna go ahead and sink these nails here at the back of the birdhouse. I've already pre-drilled them. So we put the roof on. I like that rustic edge. You can see there's the edge we cut. That's hidden in the back. That's the end that was open to the elements for some time. It overhangs the birdhouse, giving us our 4th benefit, which is a little bit of predator avoidance. Now where you put this, you'll be able to avoid predators, but also having an overhang protects it somewhat from the weather, and also just something being able to easily get into that hole. The last thing I'll do is I'll put a piece of wire on here to be able to hang it. And then once you've got this thing out on the fence, another thing I like to do is just drill a hole and run a screw through into the side of your barn or the fence. So it's hanging here, and it's got a screw to keep the wind or a predator from knocking it down. So there's our birdhouse out of rustic redwood fence material, and just kind of a neat old blue painted piece of wood. And there it goes. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Outdoors with Trav on how to make this rustic birdhouse out of salvaged materials. If you enjoyed the episode and you're inclined, please feel free to like it and even subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.